If you're running a small business here in the US, or even just thinking about starting one, you need to listen up. The entire world of business funding just got turned on its head. Seriously, there are brand new opportunities that could literally make you millions, but there's also a sneaky new trap that could get you completely locked out of some really crucial funding.
So, if you look at the official story coming from the top, everything is fantastic. The Small Business Administration, the SBA, is talking about record loan volume, painting this beautiful picture of a booming Main Street. It's all powered by renewed confidence and this America First agenda. But what's actually happening on the ground tells a bit of a different story.
And that's really the heart of what we're talking about today. On one hand, you've got headlines celebrating all this growth, but on the other, you have business advisors on the front line saying these blistering new rules are causing deals to just fall apart. So let's break down exactly what's changed, and we'll start with a huge new incentive for business owners who are planning to sell down the road.
This video contains affiliate links. Listen, if you are serious about securing business funding, whether you're going after a small business loan, a high-limit line of credit, or even venture capital, you are dead in the water if you're still operating as a sole proprietor. Lenders and investors do not fund hobbies, and they don't fund personal bank accounts. They want to see a legitimate, legally separated business. That means you need an LLC or a C Corp. If you skip this step or mess up the paperwork, your funding applications will be denied instantly. That is exactly why you need to get your entity structured correctly right out of the gate, and Busy is hands down the best way to do it. Busy handles the entire registration process for your LLC or C Corp, so you don't have to navigate the confusing legal jargon yourself. For just $0 plus state fees, they file your articles of organization, secure your EIN, set up your registered agent, and provide your operating agreement. These are the exact, specific documents that banks and lenders will ask for the second you apply for capital. Busy makes sure you have them ready to go, legally compliant, and structured for maximum funding approval. Do not apply for a single loan until your entity is rock solid. I've dropped a special link in the description below. Use that link to get your LLC or C Corp set up through Busy today and unlock some exclusive perks and discounts. Go get your legal foundation built, and then let's go get that funding.
Okay, so this first major change, it's part of a new tax law, and honestly, it's a potential game changer for founders. It basically takes a tax benefit that was already pretty powerful and puts it on steroids, creating what you could call a new golden exit strategy. And it all centers around this little acronym, QSBS.
So, what the heck is Qualified Small Business Stock, or QSBS? Well, to put it simply, it's a special tax break. It lets founders, investors, even early employees avoid a huge chunk of capital gains tax when they sell their stock in a company that qualifies. But here's the key, and you cannot miss this. The business has to be a C corporation to be eligible. An LLC won't cut it.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. Look at how much better this deal has become. The maximum gain you can take tax-free, it jumped from $10 million to $15 million. A ton more businesses are now eligible too, since the gross asset limit went up from 50 to 75 million. But maybe the most flexible and exciting change is the holding period.
It used to be you had to hold your stock for a full 5 years to get any benefit. Now, it's a tiered system, which is just brilliant. As you can see, you can sell after just 3 years, and poof, half your gain is tax-free. If you wait 4 years, it's 75%, and if you hit that 5-year mark, you get the whole shebang, 100% tax-free. This just opens the door for so many founders who might have a shorter exit timeline in mind.
So, let's talk real numbers. What does this mean for your bank account? Well, that jump from a $10 to a $15 million exclusion, that could translate to an estimated $1.2 million in extra after-tax cash for shareholders. That is a massive, massive incentive. But as one door opens, another one seems to be getting, well, a little risky.
All right, so let's shift gears over to the banking sector. There's a new executive order that's supposed to protect business owners, but at the same time, some other changes in how things are regulated are creating this new gauntlet of potential risks that you really need to be aware of.
So, on paper, this Fair Banking Executive Order sounds great. It's designed to stop something called debanking. That's where a bank might refuse to work with you because they don't like your industry or your politics. The rule says banks can't use some vague excuse like reputation risk anymore. They have to use hard financial data. This is meant to protect perfectly legal industries, everything from firearms to crypto.
But here's the catch. At the exact same time, the rules for policing the banks are getting looser. Before, regulators could step in if a bank's policies had a disparate impact, meaning they led to unequal outcomes, even if it wasn't on purpose. Now, regulators have to prove intentional discrimination. That is a much higher bar to clear. You add in fewer bank exams, and the ones that do happen are virtual? Well, it looks a lot like enforcement is being weakened.
Which leads to this really critical question for every single entrepreneur out there. In this new environment, with lighter oversight on one side and stronger rules against debanking on the other, who really holds the cards? It's something you got to think about. Because this power dynamic gets even clearer when we look at the SBA itself.
And this brings us to the trap. This is the central point of this whole explainer. The SBA has put in place some really drastic new restrictions for its most popular loan programs. We're talking the 7A and 504 loans, and they've effectively built new walls around who can even get this funding.
And this chart says it all. This is the single biggest change. It used to be that a business could get an SBA loan as long as it was at least 51% owned by US citizens or legal permanent residents. Well, as of June 1st, that number is now 100%. No wiggle room, no exceptions. A single percentage point of foreign ownership now makes your business completely ineligible.
So let's be crystal clear about who this kicks out. Any business that has even a tiny minority foreign investor, you're out. Lawful permanent residents, green card holders, are now out, unless they've held that status for at least 6 months. And refugees or people who have been granted asylum, completely ineligible for these really crucial small business loans.
But the new walls don't stop there. Another rule change has basically killed a very common, very useful tool for buying and selling a business. It's known as the equity rollover.
So here's how it used to work, and it was a pretty smart system. A seller would sell most of their company, but keep a little piece of equity, maybe 10 or 20%. This was great because it kept their expertise involved. Well, under the new rules, if a seller keeps even 1% of equity, they have to personally guarantee 100% of the buyer's loan. I mean, come on, almost no seller is going to take on that kind of risk. It's a deal killer, and it's already causing buy-sell agreements to collapse all over the country.
So let's put it all together. We've got a major new tax incentive that's pushing founders toward forming C-Corps. But at the exact same time, we have these severe new restrictions on SBA loans, which have always been the lifeblood for so many small businesses, especially LLCs. This creates a really critical decision point for every single founder.
So you're at a crossroads. On one side, you've got the LLC. It's simple, it's flexible, and it avoids that double taxation problem you get with C-Corps. But, and this is a huge but, it's completely ineligible for those amazing QSBS tax benefits. On the other side, the C-Corp gets you access to QSBS, and it's way more attractive to venture capital. But it's more complex, and your profits get taxed twice, once at the corporate level, and then again when you get them.
So how on earth do you choose? Well, let's just walk through the decision process. First, what's your goal? Is this a long-term lifestyle business or a high-growth company you plan to sell? Second, how are you going to fund this thing? Are you bootstrapping it, or are you going to be looking for venture capital? Third, what's your exit timeline? Remember, those new QSBS benefits kick in after just 3 years. And fourth, this is the big one, can you meet that strict 100% US ownership rule to even be eligible for an SBA loan in the first place? Your answers to these questions are going to point you to the right structure.
Look, the rules of the game have fundamentally changed. The paths to building wealth and the paths to getting funding have been completely redrawn. The key is to understand this new map, to see the golden opportunities, and to know where the hidden traps are, so you can make the right strategic choice for your vision. So the real question now is, what are you going to build?